My next guests have good news. Your teenager is not crazy. That's the title of their new book, a great guide for understanding what is happening to your teenager's brain and how to best parent as they transition through adolescence. Written by Dr. Jeramy Clark, who serves as a pastor of discipleship at Emmanuel Faith Community Church in San Diego, California, and his wife, Jerusha Clark, who is an active writer and speaker and has co-authored and authored 10 books together. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
Yeah, tell us about, this is a great title for a book. I know many people are probably really listening in because they think their teenager is indeed crazy. Why write this book?
Well, we have two daughters who are teenagers, so obviously we're interested just from a personal standpoint, but we spent many years in youth ministry prior to this, and parents were always beside themselves wondering, what is going on in my teenager's brain? And they were always asking, why did you do that? And not getting the answers that they were looking for. So we wanted to delve into, what does God's word say? What does our brain have to do with this? And how does that all interact with the relationship dynamics? So we did all of that in this one book, kind of rolled it together.
Yeah. Now, Jeremy, you kind of break, what I thought was very helpful is each chapter kind of delves into maybe words or sentences that we hear teenagers say, I'm bored, or things of that sort. But you kind of break down each chapter to Bio 101, Psych 101, and Faith 101. Why do that?
Well, again, so we see the evidence of what's happening in our interactions with our teens, and a lot of times it's frustrating. We get these frustrating statements or these explosive statements, and so we wanted to make it really practical because the research we did is very technical. And so when we were editing and continuing to edit this book, we had to keep making it very practical and to start with a statement like, I'm bored. Well, what's really happening in the brain? Biologically, what's going on? Why is a teen acting the way they're acting? And what we found in neuroscience, and especially the discoveries in the last few years, was just revolutionary to us.
Yeah.
So that's why we got really excited about this project, because as we looked in and we got to see biologically and some things that were happening and very explainable within a teen's brain, we wanted to break it down. Bio, what's happening? What's also happening psychologically? What's the spiritual ramifications? And then each chapter has a sense of, hey, try this today. This isn't a behavioral modification book for parents to change their teens. It really is to inform so that we as parents can be more compassionate, more understanding of what's happening. Because there are some very huge, monumental things, gigantic things that are happening in a teen's brain. So we felt, for us, we wanted to equip ourselves, and we think you can get a window into our research and our understanding, because we're on this journey. We're not trying to say, hey, we've got this all figured out.
Right.
But spending 17 years in youth ministry and having teens of our own, this was a huge opportunity for us that we're pretty excited about.
Because I have to be honest, I have two boys, 9 and 3, and I'm a little scared.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
My
natural.
3-year-old's already a handful. I'm wondering about the teenage years.
Yeah.
So, when you hear this, and what I found refreshing is that there is hope. I think that's what I got from this book. There is a lot of hope. And I love this point here. It says the brain reaches 90% of its structural size by the 6th year of a child's life. Between 12 and 24, the adolescent brain goes under construction. And so there is time to still kind of manipulate and change things. And it's all about how we interact with our child, right?
Absolutely.
How we impact our child. Tell us about that.
I'm so glad that you brought that dynamic up, because it's kind of, it's helpful to think of it like a remodeling project. Because what happens toward the end of early childhood is there's explosive growth in the brain. And it's really exciting, because that's why children are sort of like little sponges. They can learn things so quickly, and they need to. But then a switch kind of flips right around adolescence, and the brain starts to prune. And what that means is it's being shaped into something different and something new. So like a remodeling project, there's going to be a lot of messes. It's going to take longer than you think it should. I mean, adolescence goes until 24, 25, depending on the sex of the child and also their brain development. And then it's going to cost more than you think it should, just like a remodeling project. But like you pointed out, you get something more beautiful on the other side, something that's more efficient, better structured for the needs of that particular child. And it's very similar to the years between 0 and 3. The potential for change during adolescence is fantastic. It's highly neuroplastic is what they call it. Things can be changed, and so it's not too late. That is such good news and gives parents such hope.
Tell us a little bit more about that pruning process, Jeramy.
Well, and I would just jump on the fact that so many parents kind of throw up their hands in the teen years, and they're so scared, and they almost, it's kind of like they expect this disaster in their relationship. And we didn't.
They go in with defeat already.
Yes.
Defeat, and they go, oh man, the teen years, here they come. And we wanted to see it as an age of opportunity. We wanted to see it as, and engage, where a lot of parents back up and they put their hands up and they say, hey, look, I was really involved as a parent through the adolescent or the toddler years. In fact, to me, I think I could get the Dad of the Year award some of those years when I would come home and play with my kids, and I had so much fun with them. And the truth is, they have changed. I don't have those little toddler princesses running down the hall and grabbing my ankles, my knees anymore, and hugging onto me and loving me and saying, throw me in the air, Daddy. And there was a loss there. There was something there that I had to even grieve a little bit. And it's not time for me to back up and say, hey, I was involved back then. I don't understand them now. It's more difficult. Now it's an opportunity where I can push in. And yes, the brain is pruning, and so much actually is getting hardwired right now. So as a parent, I need to jump in and help them make wise choices, because we know that through our research that the brain isn't fully developed, and the brain's CEO, the prefrontal cortex, isn't even fully developed until 25. And in the prefrontal cortex, that's where teens can make wise, or as adults, we make wise decisions, we have discernment. That's still being developed in the teen years. So I need to step in, and one of the things through our research we will say to each other, and our advice to parents is, your teen doesn't have an adult brain. They need a surrogate one. They need ours to help them, right? So we.
I don't know if our teenagers would appreciate that.
No.
You need a surrogate brain.
Exactly. But for us, it really helps us, because it's so easy for parents to jump in and have junior high and teenage kind of conversations. And I don't know why it is, but our teens with one statement can get on our last nerves. And they know what buttons to press. And we need to think more as adults, and we need to not jump into the teenage drama. We need to think about it, and so much of what we've written helps us to kind of reassess the situation, know what's going on, not get defensive or offended, or we just need to be the parent that God has called us to be. Take a couple seconds, regroup, pray, and jump in as adults and think and help them think through a situation. But again, the pruning dynamic is very important to understand that, because there is a use it or lose it reality.
And that's what I find fascinating, is that if certain parts of the brain are not used during the adolescent years, they kind of die off, essentially.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, and that can be terrifying in some ways, because you think if a child is just sitting on the couch watching TV or playing on his iPod all day, what neurologically is he doing? And so there is a sense of heightened importance to this time of life, because you want to expose adolescents to the wide world. And this is what's great. God designed us to continue to grow throughout life. So our brain is always creating new pathways. In order to do that, we have to make good decisions, though. We can't just focus on one area of life. And parents are always asking us, what do I do about technology? We have 2 chapters in the book about that because of its importance. But one of the things that you can do is draw your child and your teenager into things that they're interested in outside of technology. So when they're saying, I'm bored, part of that is because as adults, we do the same things over and over again. And adolescence is all about change. So expose your kids to something new. We took our kids to a Chinese dance troupe performance last year. And, they were kind of, before we got there. They ended up loving it. And we looked at each other when we were buying the tickets. Well, they were a little more expensive than we would have thought. And we're like, we gotta expose them to things that are greater than what they might choose on their own.
And
We're
why
so
do
glad we
teenagers
did.
say I'm bored so often?
Yeah,
What is happening in the brain that
This
they
is crazy.
love that statement?
Yeah, this is crazy because the brain's reward system runs on dopamine. It's the chemical that makes you feel good. Well, in adolescence, the dopamine levels are naturally lower than they are in early childhood or in adulthood. But when dopamine releases, the sense of it is higher in teenagers. So they naturally want a dopamine release because their levels are lower. And when they get it, it feels even better to them. So you
So
have
they want to live on that high continuously.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if we can think of it in these terms, then as parents, we can actually harness that. Do something fun with your child. When was the last time you rode a roller coaster?
Yeah.
You know, don't let the youth pastor be the only one that gets to do crazy fun things with your child. And if you're not into thrill seeking in that way, then try a new kind of cuisine or do something that sparks that dopamine release in healthy ways, because then they won't be looking for it outside. This is often why kids are so drawn to alcohol or to sex outside of marriage or to other things that release dopamine, is because they're craving that release. So if we as parents can give them opportunities to do that, I mean, allow them to get that hoverboard, just make sure they wear a helmet,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I would say, and don't take no for an answer. And it's so often they'll whine or complain, and we were able to take a few vacations, and it seemed like no matter what we suggested, they didn't want to do it. I'm like, we're all the way here on the other coast, and we're gonna go see this great thing, and they're just like, can't we just stay home and watch some more TV? I'm like, really? We flew all the way out here, and that's
And
what
we're
you want
gonna
to do.
watch TV.
You want to
Yeah.
watch this, but like we can record it, watch it later. But we have to keep pressing in. We have to keep trying new things, and we need to keep engaging with our kids. Really, for us, the message is really strong and clear through our research. The onus is on us to understand this incredible opportunity and this change that they're going through, and that we change in the process. It's up to me to change. I need to keep changing and growing as a man of God, as a husband, and as a parent, and it's not time to say, well, I come home from work and they're no longer running down the hall to see me. Now it seems like I come through and one's on a computer, and I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you want? What do you want? I'm like, I want to have a great relationship, so I'll keep pushing in and I'll keep growing and I'll keep trying to understand who they are so that I can engage them and not take no for an answer, or not take the whine or whatever it is, but keep pushing. And so often, after the whole experience, they may not say as much, but it's true. You could see the impact was there. And so for us, a strong message is for parents that the change that you desire to see in your kids starts with you.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Thank you again, both of you.
Oh, so
the
good
Clarks.
to be here.
It was great meeting you. And I think it also shows us how amazing the brain is. Like, God has created this amazing tool that we all have. And it's, as you said, Jeramy, it's about understanding it and getting to know our kids even more.
True.
Where can people get your book?
It's available on Amazon, Christian booksellers, through Baker. Baker's the publishing house. It's also on our website, jandjclark.com.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.